there, beloved Ascension Pioneers, and welcome to my second part of creating and manifesting in the new. In this part, we're going to focus on soul alchemy and what are the most important key factors in this to consider, because it's just learning how to create in the new way. Our soul already knows this, because our soul always anchors from the level of awareness, of soul awareness, that we are ready to receive and we're ready to embody. So all we need to do is open up our mind, and then the physical body, which is the last level of density here, that they also embrace this, what our soul already knows. So what on the soul level, it's already familiar to us. I'm going to try to get most comfortable that I can, but yeah, we will just flow. So recently, we were guided to watch some movies that I was just postponing for so long. And I only watch movies or read things if my soul really calls me to that I know there's messages there. And I was postponing with these movies for so long because we had them downloaded for a really long time. And I just felt there needs to be perfect timing. You know, there's like a whole series of the movies, and yes, I'm talking about Harry Potter movies. I've never read the books. I've always heard people talking, good stuff about it, and I thought, well, how can you be really so interested in that? And I was young and foolish, and I just felt that I just needed to see it in my own perfect divine timing. This means that when the soul was ready to also get information and knowledge from that, because there's so many encoded messages in such movies. And we were just totally hooked with these movies. We just kept seeing them. It was, you gotta watch the next one and the next one. So with that, and as you know, there's this main theme about the wizards and spells and magic and all of that. Also, the usual topic of light and dark. And love being the highest force in all existence. There's many movies that share this simple but profound and one truth. The Matrix. There's also the Bram Stoker's Dracula. Then you have, I think Twilight movies also share a bit of that. There's many other movies too that share about this. Fifth Element, for example. It's always about this same ongoing theme. So in the new, when we really work through soul alchemy, we send everything through love. Love is not an emotion, but it begins as a feeling, because love is based on the feeling side of life. This is not like, not the same as feeling emotional or feeling sad or upset about something. It doesn't have to do anything with emotions. The feeling, when I say feeling, means that when you have a certain essence, soul essence, you feel it. As our natural state of grace composes of three primary essences, which are love, wisdom, and power. This is our natural state of grace. And from there on, when the light of the divine starts diffusing through the prism, the crystalline prism, and you get 7 basic rays, and then you continue on to the 13 rays, and it's always expanding. So on that level, you get that creation, okay? And you get many diverse soul essences, and you get many energetic signatures, or if I can even call them that have a certain frequency that you can align yourself with. So it's universal. It's there. It's not like you have it, I don't have it. I just had this comment from I don't know who last week. It was like, you're stealing the wisdom from Buddha. I'm like, wisdom is universal, love is universal, everything is universal. So I took that as a compliment, to show me where I'm tuning into, what soul awareness I'm aligning with. And I was like, thank you for the compliment, but it's really foolish to say something like that. And these people really don't have the proper understanding yet that wisdom is universal, love is universal, power is universal. It's just a matter of how your soul will receive the truth of the ultimate, of the divine, of the ultimate divine potential and expression. So in the new, we create everything through feeling. So we need to feel those essences. Why was everybody in the age of healing talking about you need to feel in order to heal? You need to, don't suppress your feelings, feel your feelings. It's very important to feel. It's because this is the basis, the center of our creation. Why was let's call it the dark side, those who are still in ignorance and then therefore persisting with the ignorance of others, but they want to manipulate. Why were they putting so much effort into numbing down the emotions of people, like with all the pills and antidepressants and with the food and the chemicals and GMOs? It's that we would close our feeling center so that we wouldn't become as powerful as we are in truth, so that we would know how to create the way they know already how we create. So we need to feel. The first aspect is really the feeling. The feeling will start everything. So if you look at the movies, when you have wizards and you have light wizards and dark wizards, and you say, wow, light wizards and dark wizards that are fighting, like they're fighting with their wands, which one will be stronger? And source is neutral, and because of this aspect, it's just, negative, positive is just the aspect of what we will be aligning with. It's not separation, it's not an opposition, it's just a choice in alignment of how we perceive that neutral expression that will always be love. Either we're in ignorance of it or we're in full expression of it. So when you have two forces, let's say dark and light, fighting with these wands, who's going to be stronger, it's not like, oh, the negative doesn't have to win because this is stronger, the positive. It's not true. So why is it always the message behind it? Love is the most powerful force. And if you've seen the movies, why Harry Potter survived at all times is because the shield of love protected him, against all this magic and all these, even the spell of death. So the love is that energy that is beyond the positive, the negative, the emotional, or the attached. It just is. So you either really are in that state and you feel that state, or you're not. You still are in truth, but you're just not aligning yourself with it. That's how we can call it. So when you have these two, let's say, opposing forces that are, testing who's stronger, and the energies are like meeting and clashing, and see who's gonna create what, whose creation is gonna win. At the end, if you have also read Anastasia's books, it is always about the speed of thought. That doesn't mean that the intellectual mind, it means the divine mind. So when you look at those wizards who are doing the spells, and they had to go through these trials and tribulations and these tasks. Every time they overcame a certain task, it was because of their willingness, their devotion, and their speed of thought. Because they had ideas, the divine ideas. They were listening to the guidance. They were fast with their responses. And this is the only thing. It's all love. So how you choose to align yourself with either positive and negative is just a commutation. It's just how you choose to perceive it. So let's say you have a dark wizard and you have a light wizard, and they're each battling their forces. What they're doing, it's like a clash of their wills, what they're sending out. But the one who will be in that feeling, whose feeling will be more intense, will also open up to a faster speed of thought. But this is the divine thought. It's because the divine thought, the divine word, and the divine love are always linked together as one. It is not separate. So when you open to that aspect of divine thought, you also open the love, and vice versa. I can't really explain that in a kind of rational sense, but it really is self-obvious and it's logical. So when you look at how they do spells, when you have two wizards, let's say, putting spells, the spells are never about the word. That is why I always say to you, don't listen just to the words, go behind it, listen to the energy, feel the energy of what's behind it. It's the same way with this. When you make the intent, if you're just babbling out these affirmations, and if it's really not felt, it won't really serve you on a higher level of how we create in the new. So you have, like, when they were training these spells, and they were saying the same words, but some of them were really powerful and some of them didn't do anything. It's because of how powerful their feeling was, how evolved they were in their feeling and their knowing. So this is what creates, this is what brings soul alchemy out, this is what creates, this is what magic does. The second important part is the energy, the focus of energy, how gathered it is. So it's how you are concentrated. It's that divine focus. So when you're working with that, you're working with all the basic 7 rays. I've just shared beautiful pyramids. These are my stone crystal art, and they share a message of the basic 7 rays. So if you're still, more interested in that and you're still learning about it, you can see that on my album blog page or my Facebook page. And it's kind of like all the rays are important. It's not like one exists without the other. They're all one. They're all working in synergy and harmony. So when you're creating in the new, it is important that you don't distract yourself, that you don't scatter or bond your energy, that you don't always exist in many places at the same time, unless you're already in that evolved state when you're doing that unconsciously. And you can be already in many places at the same time because of your energy is so expanded. But on one level, when you're still learning to do that and work with soul alchemy, you really need that focus. You really need all of you. So this is called soul integration. All your parts, all of you in one essence. That will give you that strength, that divine utilized force can really flow through you, through divine will. So that's the first ray, the ray of divine will and power and protection. So the second part, which I expose now, is don't scatter your energy. Bring all of your energy in, all of your parts. So when you're, for instance, when you're feeling you want to create something, I shared in the previous video that it's really important that it's for the collective good, for the greater good, that it's focused on selfless service. When you perceive yourself as one with everything in all life. So when you're imagining something, you're imagining that it will benefit something, the whole. You don't just think it's just for you and you're just going to have it for your selfish gains. So this is the dark side. The light side is always about doing things for the greater good. And that's why, you know, when you look at the characters in these movies, why everybody who was sacrificing themselves from the good side, they always had to die in the end, you know, a lot of them. It's because they weren't just thinking, you know, it's just me and my life, it's just, I'm already a part of the whole, so just have a part to play in it, and I'm going to serve the whole. So this is their level of awareness, and this is what this feels like, that oneness, that unison. You just don't just do it for you. Well, on the other side, then you have the darker side. They always focus on me. I'm going to have all the power. I'm going to have all, you know, strength, and I'm going to be the most powerful wizard ever. This is really not what we want to do here in the news. So I'm saying this with a bit of humor, of course, but it's also true. So, like I said, the focus, the energy, that it's not distracted, that it's really integral. It's in integrity and spirit alignment with the highest, most beneficial good. The third part would probably be deep presence, deep awareness of your senses. So once you have your energy gathered within you, through feeling, you can feel, but at the same time, because you do, again, remember, it's all interconnected. There is no one without the other. I may be saying 1, 2, 3, but they're all one. So try to think of it like that. So the third part is about, because you're already in that space and withdrawn, and you have all your focus and power within you, you know how to reflect without you as well. So you're focused, you're concentrated, and therefore you're more open to the faster speed of thought. Again, divine mind, not our human rationalizing analytical intellect, okay? Not the same. So you'll be just knowing, you'll be open to divine guidance once it flows, and you're going to be very open and very high in vibration to how this comes to you. So this is a very important part. The fourth part, like I would say, like I already mentioned, is that this focus always be for the greater good. That you always have that openness, that it's going to benefit all life in creation, that it's going to be of service, that it will assist all life. Okay, so these are the main key components. I want to share an example with you as well from my own life at this time. On Monday we had to go to the car mechanic because I had my technical examination and we needed to go to fix something, and we were free for those 2 hours. We didn't know what to do, and the city, the nearest city here, they have, you know, things and stores, and it's not a very pretty city. There's a lot of old factories and things like that have very old, stagnant, very dense energy. So we were just, you know, stranded at that spot, and we just said, okay, let's go for a walk. There's not really, you know, there's very much nature there, a lot of nature, but at the same time you have these old structures and buildings and factories that are like, when you look at them, it really looks cancerous. It looks ill. It doesn't look radiant. And I was just guided, you know, this is the part of the divine will which I mentioned. It's just that pull. I just knew I have to go in a certain direction. It's something, it felt like it's pulling me. And I said, well, it's not really pretty here, but at the same time, I was so pulled to go there. We came there, and I just felt, because there were all these houses and no view, and I said, I feel there's going to be a view. I want to see the view. I want to come to the top of this hill. And we came there. It's like a tiny little hill, and the view was all around, and you can see that factory. The most dense factory here, everybody knows it. And it looks like dark, black, brownish, very, very crass structure. So you could look all over. You had a view over the whole factory. It's kind of long. And I just felt it instantly when I saw it, like, oh my God, I have a purpose here at this time. Come on, let's do an activation. I prepared the space. There were just like some woods there. I took it from, you know, just took a piece of wood so we could sit on the floor. And I was just sitting, and I said, well, let's just receive. Let's see what's going to happen. At first, I said to my mother, I said, maybe you should start today. And she started, more like an inner meditation. And just suddenly I was guided to say, no, stop, I'm going to do it. Because at the beginning, it just felt a bit, I don't know, I just felt like maybe a bit lazy. No, I wasn't lazy. I just thought I didn't feel anything yet. So the moment she started talking, she like opened me up to that. And I said, this is where I take over. This is where Spirit's gonna, because this is my gift. This was always my gift, to just know and do these light activation. When I went to Bosnian pyramids a few years ago, that was in 2011, I did so many of them, and there was so many Spirit confirmations after each activation that I did, or the weather change, or the energy shifted. It was beautiful, and always these signs of Spirit telling me this is what you needed to do at that time. So I just knew, and all of a sudden I had a vision. I saw what we need to do, because Spirit literally gives you, it's not like a physical vision, but you know what to do. So I saw us like doing this manifestation of doing like a light surgery on the building. It was like a focus with the laser. So we had to perceive ourselves as we have laser eyes, and we have our hands are like lasers. And we were scanning through like an infinity symbol shape. We were scanning through the whole factory. And then we came to the vortex point. That was my guidance. And in that vortex point, we saw that old, cloggy, foggy dissolving. And from that, it's like it felt, when the energy is so dense, it literally feels like it stopped. If you imagine like very heavy clouds, and it feels like nothing's moving, or you feel fog, nothing's shifting. When you see a perfectly clear, beautiful, sunny day, it feels like everything is moving. So that's how it feels. It was very dense. When we did that, I said, just come to that middle point. And at middle point, there was an analogy given through Spirit, kind of like, when they make the heart beat again, with those, what they put the heart bells. So they kind of make it beat artificially at the beginning, before, when they they give you a new heart, and kind of they revitalize it. And before it starts beating on its own, they kind of trigger that process. So this is what it felt. So when we came into that middle point, we had to reactivate that pulse. So it was imagining that pulse, that everything from that vortex, we built a vortex there. Because a lot of people believe that just high energy places have vortices, but a lot of places that are very dense, very crass, that were very distorted and manipulated with this old energy, they're the ones that need it the most. And there's vortices that need to be built within. That everything is already a vortex. You are a vortex. Everything has its own toroidal field. But because of this denseness, this clogginess, a lot of it became so dense, so heavy, that you literally feel there's no vortex there, because it doesn't feel that way. When you go to a higher energy place, like, oh my gosh, you immediately feel a vortex. But that place already beats at the highest frequency. So what we need to focus on is bring awareness and light to those places that don't yet have that. So there's a lot of people who go to pyramids and say, I'm activating these places, but they're actually activating themselves, because these places are already, so high in vibration, and they're just opening up to the level that we're ready to receive at this point. But these places, the dense places, is where a lot of light work really takes place. So sometimes, also it's important to expose here is the humility aspect. This would kind of be like a fifth key point. It's the humility. It's, don't brag about it. Don't say, I did this light working here, then I opened a portal there, I did that. This is really not how this takes place. It's a humble service. A lot of people who do that, they don't even talk about it, or they do it unconsciously. They're not even willing. They just go to a certain place, and their energy already affects the whole. And it's a humble process. So when we did that, when the pulse started, we were guided to give a breath of life to it. So we kind of breathed into it, because it needed to have that reinvocation of the living existence in the new. So it's a process, and Spirit literally shared that don't become so much fixated on how it looks now. Always see the deeper, higher truth behind it. See the energy. Feel it. It's already opening. It's opening. Don't look at how it looks, So sometimes people would read an article, maybe there was an old building or old factory, and it says 100 people were dismissed there. They no longer have their jobs, and they would go like, oh gosh, let's pray for those people, They don't understand that already was a part of the cleansing. That already was the part of the purpose. So in the new working with magic and soul alchemy, we'll have to understand that there's going to be changes. But when your focus is, let's say Spirit calls you to a certain assignment, through humility, through grace, through love of the divine, You don't think, I'm going to do this today, I'm going to open a portal. You don't even think. You just sit, you just receive the instructions, and you don't have your own focus. It doesn't come to your mind. The source does everything through you. This means to be a conduit, a pillar of divine light. So you don't have any agenda. You don't have any attached feelings to it, like, oh, I so want to heal this place. Again, emotions, human emotions. The mind always works with that effect. The mind, the lower mind, with the combination of the lower emotions and attachment, it's not really a healing combination. True healing is holing. It's knowing that it's already whole. So when source flows through you, you will feel the perfection in what already is, even if it looks like a crass building. So this is one of the examples how we were guided to do this recently, and we really needed to feel it. So it's the love. It's your love for all creation, not just things that feel in high resonance or frequency with you, but also the love for those parts that were most distorted, most dysfunctional in the third dimensional paradigm, that you perceive it as such. And you pour your breath of life once again in that. So it's not yours in a way through your personality. It's yours because you're already a part of source. You're already all, and that all works through you. So this is what soul alchemy, this is how we create in you. There's a lot of you who is going to be most certainly called to this work. And it's not like in the New Age, people talk about, we went to this place, we opened these portals, we did this, we did that. And they're talking about it like in a way they're bragging and, giving themselves these definitions. That's why I say, don't focus on that. Just focus on being a conduit of the divine. It doesn't matter. Maybe one day you're going to be guided to go to a certain hilltop. You don't even know what you're doing, but you're doing something there, but you feel it. You feel the energy of the place shifted. That's enough. It's the feeling side of life that will tell you things, that will make you feel like you matter just by you being the highest expression of you, and always knowing these signs and tasks. So a lot of times, Spirit shows me this is by knowing that everything happens in divine timing. So I just knew that there was somebody there working something, but they didn't even see us. So we were totally protected. Oops, my crystal fell. We were totally protected. We were totally nourished. We're just in this beautiful space. And when we finished and we walked down the hill, the phone rang and the mechanic said, your car is done. So, it didn't ring before, or, it was just all perfect timing. Because when this happens, you know the divine will is working for you. So I hope you enjoyed this. This was one of my examples. And why I was so guided to share this is because this is what a lot of us is going to be focusing now. And when I'm coming here in this spot, when I'm speaking light language, and I'm singing the divine word that I receive, and that I'm toning it, that I'm raising the frequency, I'm already working on the higher level. And work is not just what we do in human terms that we've known so far, like writing, video blogging, anything like that. It's also the things that start, because all creation starts from the ethereal first, and then it moves down to the denser and denser layers. So we've got to give ourselves the value and the pat on the back sometimes as well, those of us who are doing that kind of service. And like I said, it's not service to another or to a specific place, or it's never attached to a certain part of that creation. It's always to oneness. It's always to union and oneness with our life. So this is what it is. Okay, I think this is enough for today. If I'm going to be guided to share more about this topic, I will. I'll see you on my Facebook page. Sometimes, often recently I'm guided to do special offers, and I just hope that we will meet along the way somewhere. And there were so many new subscribers to my videos recently. I was asking myself, how did this happen? It was like a vortex opened up. So everybody who's new, welcome, and so much love, wisdom, and power to all of you. And bye-bye, until next time.